Yes, so hopefully you can see my slides now.
Yes, I can see it.
Yes, great. So let's get started with this GitHub session.
Yep.
Well, hello and welcome everyone to our GDSC at LUT GitHub at November, I think it is. Or no, it's still October. Yeah. So today we'll talk about GitHub and we'll have a quick overview of what is GitHub, why you should use it, and what's its functionalities. And we would also have Ahsan, our tech lead, show us and share with us how he has been using GitHub himself and how it has helped him as a developer overall. So let's get started. And Ahsan will kick off this presentation right away.
Okay. Hi all, I'm Ahsan Munir, and today I will talk about core features that I believe are important to know about the strength of GitHub or any other source code repository platform such as Bitbucket from Atlassian. But today we will mainly focus on GitHub. So, what are the GitHub core features? Well, there are many core features, but the listed that you are seeing as main features are some of the core features. Like say they are collaborative coding, automation, and CI and CD, security access control, client apps, project management, team administration, and lastly the community. Next, please. Okay, so collaborative coding. The collaborative coding helps in contributing to projects quickly with automatic environment setup, and it makes sure that you can see the and to your teams and that are care about they that are the crucial for your teams for and that the changes, and it helps you to build community about around your code. And there are many aspects of collaborative coding such as code spaces, notifications, protected branches, team reviewers, multi-line comments, but we will mainly focus on pull requests, code review assignments. So first of all, the pull requests. The pull requests let you tell others about changes you have pushed to a branch in a repository of GitHub. Then it's once a pull request is opened, you can discuss and review the potential changes with collaborators and add follow-up commits before your changes are merged into a base branch. Uh, so it can be collaborative between you and your team members or some, let's say, the quality assurance teams who are reviewing their team. It totally depends about the architecture or the hierarchy of a team. So pull requests can be created by multiple ways, such as on github.com on the website platform with the GitHub desktop applications, or even on GitHub mobiles. But these are for enterprise level supports, and also with the GitHub command line interface. And you can integrate these kinds of pull requests or GitHub itself with several IDEs and that are integrated development environment such as Microsoft Visual Studio, Sublime Text, Android Studio, and many more. So in pull request, other contributors in your team can review your proposed changes, add review comments, contribute to the pull request discussions, and even add comments to the pull request. So now coming to the code review. So once you have submitted the pull request, then comes to the code review. After a pull request has been opened by you, for just like take an example, you can review and discuss the set of proposed changes. Reviews allow collaborators to comment on the changes proposed in pull request, approve the changes, or request further changes before the pull request is merged with the production level code or with some other branch. So repository administrators can require that all pull requests are approved before being merged. So this is the main point that need to be focused. For instance, that your team lead said that okay, that the code will be merged to the production level until all the pull requests are approved by and reviews everything by the team. So next, after a pull request is open, anyone with the read access can review and comment on the changes it proposes. You can also suggest specific changes to specific line of codes, which the author can apply directly from the pull request. Repository owners and collaborators can request a pull request review from a specific person uh, under your team or that has access to that repository. Organization members can also request a pull request from a team with read access to the repository. Now you have the pull request and you have submitted the code review. Then it comes to code review assignments. So what are the code review assignments? The code review assignments clearly indicate which member of a team are expected to submit a review for a pull request. Review can be done by your team member or a team lead. By using code review assignments, anytime your team can be requested to review a pull request, the team is, for example, the team will be removed as a reviewer and specify subset of a team members are assigned into the team's place. So let's say for the developers, someone has write the code and another has to review the code. So they will be replaceable. So the code review assignments allow you to decide whether the whole team or just a subset of a team members are notified when a team is requested for review. So next, please. Now, now the other main feature is automation and continuous integration and continuous delivery. So by automation and continuous integration, continuous delivery, you can automate everything like say CI, CD, the continuous integration, continuous delivery, testing, planning, project management, issue labeling, or approvals, and many more. So, so what is CI or CD in GitHub? Let's say the continuous integration and continuous delivery. So, continuous integration. It automatically builds, tests, and integrates code changes within a shared repository. Then, continuous delivery automatically deliver codes change to production ready environment for approval, or even the continuous development automatically deploys the code changes to let's say users or the client server directly. So there are multiple core features of automations and continuous integration, but we will discuss about GitHub Actions, hosted runners, and webhooks. So coming to the GitHub Actions. Um, by GitHub Actions, you can automate or customize and execute your software development workflows. Right in your repository, you can discover or create and share actions to perform any job you would like, including continuous integration or continuous deployment, and combines action in a completely customized workflow. So what now coming to the hosted runners. So in host, what are the hosted runners in GitHub? So they basically offers virtual machines to run workflows that we have built in GitHub Actions using continuous integrations or continuous deployment. So the virtual machines contains an environment of tools, packages, and settings available for GitHub Actions to use. A GitHub hosted runner is a virtual machine hosted by GitHub with a GitHub Actions runner application installed on it. And GitHub offers runner with multiple operating systems such as like Linux, Windows, or Macintosh operating systems. When you use a GitHub host runner, machine maintenance and upgrades are taken care of for you. You don't have to be worried about the maintenance or upgradation. It can be handled at the end of GitHub level repository. So you can simply run your workflows directly into virtual machines or integrate with any Docker containers. So we will discuss about Docker containers some of our next sessions. So it's a booming technology nowadays, like server sides and. So now coming to the back to the hosted runners, we can specify the runner types of each job in a workflow. Let's say each job in a workflow execute in a fresh instance of the virtual machine. All the steps in job execute in the same instance of the virtual machine, allowing the actions in that job to share information using the file systems. The main things in automation, one of the main things is the webhooks, and the webhooks are not specifically for the GitHub, and webhooks are also main feature in most of the technology related for the mobile application development or web-based application development. So they are, the GitHub webhooks are more or less have same functionalities like other webhooks have. So what are webhooks in GitHub? So webhooks provide a way of notification to deliver to an external web server. For example, your GitHub repository is linked with your Amazon web server, and anything changes at your end, it will be notified. So webhooks can trigger whatever a variety of actions are performed on a repository or an organization. For example, you can configure a webhook to execute whenever a repository is pushed, a pull request is opened to the repository, a new member is added to a team. So these will be notified. So using the GitHub API, you can make these webhooks update an external issue tracker, like say trigger CI builds, the continuous integration builds, update a backup mirror of your source code, or even deploy to your production server. Next, please. So next is security, and security is the main aspect or feature in most of the technology stacks that are nowadays. So without security, you can't make sure that the code is secure or up to date, or it's not contain any vulnerabilities. So the GitHub security provides you provide with the private repos, required reviews and status checks, and code scanning. So security, secure code as you write it simply in the GitHub automatically review every change to your code base and identify vulnerabilities before updating to the production server, and understand and address any vulnerability in your open source dependencies. For instance, you are using third-party libraries, let's say an npm package in you, and there's some changes in the npm and there's security vulnerability. So it should be a real-time update to your source code repository. But if you didn't update, it can affect the functionalities of your software or let's say application or anything related to the code. So in security, there are many features that GitHub provides under the security, but there are three mains that one of these is private repos. So repository contains all of your project files, and each file has a version history, or you can say revision history. So you can discuss and manage your project within the repository, or you can individually, you can own a repository individually, or you can share ownership of repo with other people in your organization or outside of your organization for the collaborative coding or sharing of code source and committing on other source codes as well. So it's, you can say that you can give access levels to your repos. So some have read, some have write, some have pull, merge, so different kind of uh, access level you can provide to your repos. For user on repository, you can give other people collaborative access so that they can collaborate on your project outside of your organization. It can be inside of your organization. So it depends on the scope of your project, because some of the projects have in-house development, some have offshore development. So it totally depends. So now required reviews and status checks. So repository administrators can require that all pull requests receive a specific number of approving reviews. Let's say it can be from your quality assurance department or your internal audits before someone merge the pull request into a protective branch, or you can require approving reviews from people with the right permission in the repository or from a designated code owner. In this case, can be a your team lead or product manager or project manager. Now the code scanning. You can use code scanning to find security vulnerability and error in the code for your project on GitHub. Let's say that I have discussed, speak earlier, that some of the libraries that you are using for npm package. So there are some vulnerabilities in the code. So it can be scanned. You can say You can scan your code occasionally by, let's say, weekly, monthly. It totally depends on you. So you can use code scanning to prioritize fixes for existing problems in your code. So you can link your test cases with your code, and code scanning also prevent developers from introducing new problems. It happens a lot most of the time when you add a new feature in your source code or add a new functionality or improve, even if you improve your any functionality to optimize your source code, existing source code. You can schedule scans for specific days and times, or trigger scans when a specific event occur in repository, such as a new feature is pushed into the existing repo. So next, please. So now, coming to the client apps. Uh, you can say you can take a GitHub with you on any connected devices. Let's say your mobile, desktop, or CLI. You have multiple ways to access your repos or repositories. First of all, the what personally what I love to do is using GitHub command line interface. So command line interface is a tool that brings pull request issues other GitHub features to your terminal, so you can do all your work in one place. So some it's good to use CLI, but it varies person to person. So it is an open source tool for using GitHub from your computer's command line, and when you are working from the command line, you can use the GitHub command line interface to save time and avoid switching context if you are using some desktop applications. So the command line includes GitHub most of all of the main features. Like view, create, clone, or fork a repository. You can create a pull request, close, and comment, and many more. So you can access all the features of GitHub by command line. And then we have GitHub desktop applications. It's available for Windows and Macintosh OS. So use GitHub Desktop to manage your projects and create meaningful commits and track the project's history in an app instead of command line. So in command line, you have to just memorize or remember some of the main, you can say, the commands to run the code or to pull the or push the codes into your repo. And then the last one is the GitHub for mobile, but GitHub mobile is currently in beta version, and it is for enterprise level servers. With it you can collaborate and manage your work on GitHub from your mobile devices. And GitHub for mobile gives you a way to do a high impact work on GitHub quickly and from anywhere. But it has some limited functionalities as compared to GitHub CLI, or like command line interface, or GitHub desktop. But as I said, that it's a better version. So with the passage of time, hopefully in coming years, it will be more. They will add some more features into the GitHub application for mobiles. So next, over to Jane.
Yes, thank you, Ahsan. And I will actually talk about the project management in GitHub. So you have probably got like a good overview of the collaborative coding environment that Ahsan has presented, but also, as you probably like seen, GitHub is a world in of itself, and you can actually like collaborate there and also manage your team and administrate it. So basically, it can be done in three ways. So the first one is milestones, and they allow you to actually track progress on groups and issues, pull requests in a repository, and map groups to overall project goals. And when you create like a milestone, you can associate it with the issues and pull requests. So this is actually like, milestone word. This word is pretty obvious, and this is how you can manage your team and the task that they do. And the next one is issues in labels. So GitHub actually allows you to keep feature requests, bugs, and more organized with the GitHub issues feature. It is engineered for software teams, so basically you can manage your work on GitHub by creating labels to categorize issues, pull requests, and discussions. So if you have some problem that reoccurs quite often, you can just put in a label there, and it will obviously make your workflow a bit easier. And of course, wikis, which is a good word, I think, and you can probably make an association to Wikipedia, for example. So every repository on GitHub comes equipped with a section for hosting documentation. So this is called wiki. There you can use your repository's wiki to share long-term content about your projects, such as how to use it, how you design it, how you came up with the idea, and some core principles. And there is a file that quickly tells what your project can do, while you can use a wiki to provide additional documentation. So this is about the project management. And next up, as I already mentioned, it can be used for team administration as well. So it simplifies access and permissions management across your projects and teams. As you can imagine, like if you work in an organization, it can simplify it to like 100% because it allows collaborations across many projects while managing access to projects and data and customizing settings for your organization. So groups of people can collaborate and manage many projects. You can synchronize your teams if two teams work on one same project and so on. So like the field for administration and management thing is very huge there. Then the next one is the community, of course. So as you have seen, nowadays GitHub unites millions of IT specialists all over the world. And I think it is like with the things that it obvious that it has so much potential for the people in the industry to use it. And of course, public repositories allow you to find different solutions to many popular tasks. If you have Googled some specific like scientific codes or even codes for games, I think, you can also find them on GitHub, for example. And this is called an open source code, and it lets software developers follow the process of other project development on which they depend on or they're just interested in. It is also allowing you demonstrate solutions to the community, whether it's a small problem or just a huge project you've been working on for many years. And next up is GitHub Marketplace. This is actually a very nice tool where you can install apps and integrate it with your GitHub API to customize and optimize your workflow. And by this, like you can build your own private, I don't know, workstation and use the best features that you want to do. And it connects you to the developers who want to extend and improve their GitHub workflow. So these can be free and also paid tools for developers that can be found on Marketplace. And it basically offers two types of tools. It's either GitHub Actions and Apps, and each tool requires different steps for adding it to the GitHub Marketplace. And of course, for the GitHub Learning Lab, if you're a newbie, it can be just a boost to your career and your starting point because it helps you to grow your skills by completing fun, realistic projects. And you can also get advice and helpful feedback from friendly learning lab bots, which you can like see here. It's a cat basically. And GitHub Learning Lab consists of many interesting and helpful courses that will allow you to become a GitHub professional. And there are not really boring tutorials that you want to just to fall asleep during watching them. And it is just basically hands-on lessons created with love by the GitHub community, which are very passionate people, trust me. And they're taught by friendly learning lab bot. So, and right now, Ahsan will share his experience with GitHub because he has been in the IT industry for quite a long time, and he will personally share what he has been like using, and yeah, just share his experience. So Oksana, I will um, move over to you, and you can share your screen.
Thank you, Jen. Yeah, let me share my screen. Okay. So, well, using GitHub, I like and during my experience, I feel in the beginning that I have uh, a lot of issues while working in a team when we were not using GitHub, and we were using some another platforms from Microsoft or even from Windows. But the usage of GitHub has a lot in the team. Let's say in along approximate 5 years ago. So now in front of you there is a small demo that I had that I want to share with you guys. That for instance, now and there is a scenario. I have a repository in my GitHub, and then this is a project like say food station, and we have some code changes into the this repository. So if the things, if there are some changes in a one piece of file, and there are some others, so how you can see which developer have made changes, and if you have to merge these codes to your existing codes. So sometimes it is difficult to okay just make the changes and just merge it with your existing code without reviewing, so it can be a disastrous uh, if if you go for the production environment. So and it will be difficult to trace out the issues. So for instance, now I have some files in my repository, and I have changed some of the files, and I uh, changes on the repository. So here are the files that has four changed, and these are the 125 additions and approximately 124 deletions. So it is giving you statistics. So and along with the name of the files that have been changed in this repository. So now, for example, if this configuration of XML file, so if you have seen here, so you can see that these are the changes that happens into the config.xml file. So the red ones that are these are the old source code, and the green ones are the additional ones, or they didn't get changed. So these are the let's say some of the architecture that you can see uh, in compare for the comparison of the code. The first point that we have discussed in our presentation, the code collaborations. So now, if we see, coming back to the points that, okay, we can break down all the changes that happens for each file. So we can go for, let's say, now you can see that config has 155, approximately 26 has the package.json file, and the Android and package for iOS JSON. So they have some different things as compared to them. So for example, if you see on line number 14 and 15, the red ones, if you see that in-app browser, the version was changed from 3.2 to 4.1, and then version was for Cordova plugin media is update from 5.0.2 and 5.0.3. So now it's coming to back to the point that we have discussed in our presentations. So let's say these are some third parties libraries or APIs that you are using, and they make some changes, and you want to see how these changes affect your existing functionalities. And if you don't have any methodologies of track and trace, so it will be a hard thing to for you to track down the changes. So these are the things. So even if you can come down and you can just leave a comment on it, so and then this comment will be read by your team members, and they can review the code and then merge the code with another thing, existing codes or libraries. So these are the small examples to just give you a brief that how the things works. So now this is the desktop web-based platform for the GitHub. So coming to the desktop applications we have here. So this is another project that I have been working. For example, now if you see here the history. If you see the history, these are the team members that have been working on on this project, or so let's say this file. So these are the members who access the file or make changes, and let's say I updated the partners.js file and then merge and along these things. So you can who are doing what things. So what are the changes that have been made by the team. So now, for example, so if you see these yellow boxes, and so these are the kind of files that modified, and the green ones are the things that has been added to repository, existing repository. So now, so if you see that it's similar, like if you can see similar that these things are similar to the uh, web-based platforms and all the things. So even you can make changes for any kind of media. Let's say it doesn't mean that it only trace the source code or source files. You can even track down the images, the resources, sounds, or anything, like CSS file that we have discussed in our first sessions. So JavaScript, HTML, anything that is changed, updated, or added, so you can trace down and to your in your repositories. So now, for example, you can see the my current repository is this Gwamin site, and we have a branch of this Gwamin new, and then we are making changes and we are publishing it into the merging into the existing source code. And once everything is tested and all the commits are done, then we will push it to the production level server, so the clients or the users can see the changes in real time. So there's another platform similar to the GitHub, and in most of the industry, you can say people are using also the Bitbucket, and this Bitbucket is, you can see by the interface, it's similar to the GitHub. If I can show you like this, so it's also giving you the comparison or everything, but it's from Atlassian, and you can also integrate with the Jira, with the another platform for bug tracking, for ticket and backtracking or regarding for this source code development and anything. This is also from the Atlassian also. So this is also a small kind of source code, or a kind of small piece of code that you can see over here. So here also the master branch and workspace, the pull request, the push, the fetch, all the things similar to the GitHub, and it has also the command line interface and web-based interface as well. So that's it from my side, and I will recommend to all of you guys start using GitHub, even if you are a beginner in coding. So by the passage of time, you will be expert, and you will save your time. I, you will save your time, and you will ease it can, because it helps, because in development, and there's nothing. Things get changed occasionally, or you can say if you have write a piece of code today, and let's say after 1 month you have to change that because there's some issues or there's some optimization. You can see that, okay, we can optimize this piece of code. So the tracking, and you can monitor who are making changes, and even you can integrate these kinds of changes to some analytics as well. So you can see that how many changes have been done or implemented for this specific feature by whom, or by whom in your team. So thank you.
Thank you, Ahsan. So I think it was very helpful introduction to what GitHub and other sources and platforms and tools can do to your like daily IT work. And we will just quickly wrap up our meeting by proceeding from the slides. So here you had a story from Ahsan, and we believe that if you will be interested, we can hold our next session, which will be a GitHub workshop named First Day on GitHub. And we believe that it will be a very helpful tool for starting programmers, or if you have had some experience but you don't have GitHub, it will be very helpful for you as well. And we plan to have this workshop where we will answer questions like what is GitHub? Well, we have answered this question today, I believe, and we will dive deeper into how does one use GitHub, what are issues and pull requests. These are the words that you heard today quite often. How do you create a branch and a commit? How do you use GitHub Pages? And by the end of the workshop, hopefully you will be able to communicate in issues, manage notifications, create branches, make commits, introduce changes and with pull requests, and deploy a web page to GitHub Pages. And so this is the workshop that we are planning, and we hope that you'll be attending it. And we are very excited to do that for you as well. So if you haven't already, you can claim your badge of our member as our member. And you can follow this link or just scan a QR code, and it will be also available in the email that you get from our chapter. And you can sign up for our chapter at Google Developers Platform. Our chapter is literally LUT University. So if you have any questions, please do contact us either through our chapter on Google Developers or by joining us on the social media, Facebook, LinkedIn. And we also have a short survey where we present you with some topics that we can cover. And by undergoing this survey, you will help us greatly to improve our events. And maybe we will host some new topics for you and just enjoy the events that we're doing. So, thank you very much for your attention. And I think we can wrap up our meeting there. So, thank you, everyone. Ahsan, do you have any final words to say?
Well, no, but I will be looking forward, me and Artemii, for if you guys have interest in GitHub sessions or hands-on workshop. So we will work together and we will try our best to give answers to your questions. So let us know if you are interested for a workshop in GitHub. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you, everyone, and have a great day or weekend, whatever. Goodbye.